So I'm still at it. For whatever reason, I'm hell-bent on finding a replacement for my SE6, my tried and true trusted blade. Now, I don't know why I really want to replace this. I think I'm just finding an excuse for why this might not be the ultimate survival or bushcraft knife. So far, this has been the one. I've tried a bunch. I've tried to replace it. I still can't do it. But today, I'm going to give it another try. And for this attempt, it's the Tops Longhorn Bowie knife. Now, if you've been following along with my little saga, you'll know that after I was using my SE6, I stumbled into the Becker BK7. But I wasn't really ready to call that the one to replace the SE6, simply because it was an inch longer and, I don't know, just to be fair, I felt like that stepped into a different class of knives. So I experimented with the Tops Tex Creek, but the handle left me wanting a little bit thicker of a handle, and just lack of a choil left something to be desired. So I took a quick peek at the Silent Hero. Now this was getting close. I still struggled with a slightly undersized handle, and the depth of the blade made it a little bit uncomfortable for me. So I took a gamble, and I figured I'd check out the Tops Longhorn Bowie. Now, unfortunately, I'm going back against my word, which in reality, if you take a look at this knife, it's back around the 7-inch mark. So I'm kind of back in the same class as the Becker BK9. So maybe I'm cheating a little bit. But all I know is I've been looking for a Tops knife that could potentially replace my SE6. And I'm going to see if this might have the characteristics I'm looking for in the look and feel, blade, handle, total package. So let's see. So as I first try to compare these knives, I mean, there's an obvious difference when you look at the actual blade shape. But apart from the Bowie aspect, there actually are some similarities. First off, the depth of the blade. It's really pretty close. Second, the choil. Third, full flat grind on both. So in that regard, we're actually not that far off. Let's take a quick look at the handles. Now, the length slightly varies, but that's not too big of a deal. You do end up with like a little choil here, where you kind of do a little bit here, but not quite so much, and then you end up with a small sort of palm swell where you don't there. But, you know, in some ways, even though they're different, there are some similarities. In thickness, well, that's where we get a little bit different here. You might notice that the Longhorn Bowie is thicker than the SE6. Well, you know what? That's what I liked about the Becker BK7. In fact, that has the biggest handle of them all. At least in thickness. Not in length, but in thickness. This Longhorn Bowie has some real sweet lines. These handles are awesome. I mean, look at this. It is beautiful. The micarta is gorgeous. That's looks to me to be some sort of a gray linen micarta. You end up with a real nice white spacer that just pops off the tang. The liners are actually, in a funny way, slightly undersized to the tang of the knife. And so when you look at it, you actually see the tang exposed on the top, bottom, back side. That tang is exposed all the way around. And you might think at an initial impression that that would bother you. But oh man, does that handle feel great. You know, I'm starting to wonder if this blade is underlooked, underutilized, and not given the appreciation as it should for a camp or bushcraft blade. Now you're going to realize very fast that this is not only not a sharpened spine, but this spine is totally round, which, okay, so what? I'm supposed to be scraping bark and, striking a ferro rod, but if I really had to, I could wear a flat spot in that if that was so important to me. There's so many other ways of striking a fire or stripping bark that this doesn't have to be my means to do it. I mean, honestly, I want a damn comfortable blade that I can work with all day, that I really like, and I want to pull out and use it every single time I go out. I am looking for that blade that makes me say, yes, I cannot wait to go to the woods and use this blade. And so far, with the comfort of this, even putting my thumb up there to do work, the choil, the balance, this is actually pretty well balanced. It has a reasonably heavy handle that's almost exactly evenly weighted with the front of the knife. Look how long that handle is. Plenty of room to, choke towards the back for light chopping duties, but I don't know, my initial impression of this is it is pretty sweet. Now, the one part I wonder about on this knife, which may be an asset or may detract from its overall interest for me, and I haven't decided yet because I haven't really used this, but is this, upswept Bowie tip. And I don't know if it's Bowie or Bowie or whatever you call it. I'll say Bowie because that's just what I've always said. But anyway, that upswept tip there. Now, I don't know, like I said, if that's an asset or if it will bother me. But let's just use our imaginations a little bit. Let's just say I don't like that upswept tip. Well, what can I do about it? Again, let's use our imagination. Pretend that green tape represents a piece of the blade that I ground off. So then I'm just left with the metal that's exposed right now that you can see. Well, doesn't that make for a damn nice drop point? I think that looks pretty sick, to be honest with you. Then maybe I can grind the top of that flat and that'll give me my spot for the striking of the ferro rod. I mean, why are we in business to deal with knives yet we're not able to customize or deal with the components that go along with a knife? So, I mean, I've been set up and trying to maintain my ability to make custom changes to knives and also deal with little sheath issues and stuff like that. So, right now, I'm thinking if I keep this, maybe I'll experiment. And I'll grind that tip of the Bowie down, get myself a nice little drop point there. Something like that. And then I think this thing's going to be pretty damn close to perfect. Now, if you watch a lot of Tops reviews, you'll notice that most people have a really harsh criticism of these crappy nylon sheaths that come with some of the Tops knives. Well, I'm going to be no different. I hate these sheaths. This kind of sucks, to be honest with you. But this is what you get. And so this is what you deal with. And I just got done saying to you, if you're going to be in business dealing with a knife like this, you also need to be in business to deal with the sheath. So my plan is to be able to potentially custom design and build my own Kydex sheath. I've toyed around with Kydex a little bit. I'm getting a little more confident in it. And I believe, based on the shape and design of this knife, I should be able to build myself a pretty solid carry option out of Kydex. Even if I'm not able to successfully make myself a Kydex, there's plenty of nice, easy, cheap leather sheaths available online, on eBay, different places. And so, if you get into knives and you want to own more than one, maybe you have a Kydex or maybe you don't. Maybe you have one of these ballistic nylon sheaths, maybe you don't. But either way, pick up a couple of these nice leather sheaths just to have them for when you need them. I mean, I've had this sheath for a couple of different blades. It'll show up in future videos and you'll see it again. But this works perfect for this knife right now. It gives me a solid carry option. It's not my favorite color. I'm not really too big a fan of this orange leather stuff. But personally, I'm not a big fan of that either. So either way, it's fine. It'll do. you know, these are kind of nice anyway, just because if you want and you have a Molly compatible backpack, you can lash it on. It is kind of a drop style. You do have a couple of retention points, but I don't know, it's still kind of bonesy. So at least here I have options, and so I don't know. This Longhorn Bowie is starting to get me excited. I think I'm stumbling onto something pretty cool here. So just a final recap. Let's hit the checklist. Blade shape. Well, in length, a little longer than I would hope, but that's just to say that's for the even comparison to the SE6. I think with the modification, it'll actually be almost identical. They're both flat, full flat grinds. They both have a choil. They both have ample handles. They both have pretty good style, nice balance. The Longhorn, I think, takes the cake in terms of the comfort on the handle. I am really digging this. I gotta say, guys, if you like a slightly larger handle, that is beautiful. It feels great. The only thing that I might do, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna custom do this myself, is maybe put a little scallop in here, just so that if you use an alternate grip, that necks down and slopes down just a little bit, but at the same time I don't want to dig into this bolt hole at all, so we'll see. I might play with that. I'm not sure yet, but the weight feels nice, the size feels great, the blade looks excellent. You know, you don't get the 90-degree spine, but I talked about maybe addressing that. The sheath, kind of sucks, but it is what it is. You know, we don't cut with the sheath. That's just a carry option. Shit, I know it's important to carry your knife, but I want to be wielding this thing around. So anyway, I guess this is, you know, up for debate. Now, I'm definitely going to keep this. I know for sure this is going to get used out in the field now. So I have something I'm looking forward to testing. And unfortunately, I'm not so sure that the Tex Creek XL or the Silent Hero are even going to see any wood. I don't think these things are going to cut a single thing, and I don't think they're going to make it to the collection. So I know it's kind of a crazy process, and I've gone through a lot to try to figure it out, but hey, that's what it takes, and you know, right now I'm kind of in business to do that. So here we go. Trial run for the Longhorn Bowie. For the short term, it's made the cut. So anyway, I hope you found that interesting. I appreciate you guys checking out my channel. I really appreciate your support. If you like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care. I'll see you soon.